Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race, our common enemies, death. Welcome on Perfect Society. I'm or BC Hoffman, and this is the broadcast. Report Netanyahu determined to start annexation process before election. Article, review, and critique. So, besides reviewing this article on hamodia.com, that's the title of this video. So that's the article I will review. I have a little intro, and there's also this article of timesofisrael.com cheering Trump plan. Netanyahu says he will start annexation process Sunday, and that's today, and that's an article of Thursday, 28th of January. Here was Thursday, and today is Sunday. And first I'll begin with a little intro. Annexation, the action of annexing something, especially territory.
Annexation.
Annexation is the administrative action and concept in international law relating to the forcible acquisition of one state's territory by another state, and is generally held to be an illegal act, from Wikipedia. And I refer to the other broadcasts I made on TrySomething.Vegetarian 9 months ago. Only 3 views. All 28 EU membership states reject Israeli sovereignty over the Golan and slam Trump's proclamation. So let's read about this annexation process starting before the election. They sabotage everything, so just bear with me for restarting the speech engine. I'm not going to read the articles myself.
Israel report, Netanyahu determined to start annexation process before election by Dov Ben Ovadia Sunday, February 2, 2020 at 3 o'clock a.m. President Donald Trump shakes hands with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during a joint news conference to announce a new Middle East peace plan proposal in the East Room of the White House, Tuesday. Reuters/Joshua Roberts, Yerushalayim- after Sunday's cabinet meeting was cancelled, apparently over disagreements between Israel and the United States over the schedule of annexation of areas of Yehuda and Shomron. A report on Channel 13 said that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu planned to bring the entire deal of the century peace plan to the cabinet for approval. The hope is that if the plan is adopted, the U.S. will give its blessing to annexation before the March 2 election. Netanyahu had planned to bring the annexation part of the plan to a vote separately from the rest of the plan, which gives Israeli consent to the establishment of a Palestinian state, if the conditions for establishment of that state are fulfilled, including the Palestinians' recognition of Israel as a Jewish state, and the end of payments by the Palestinian Authority to terrorists and their families. While there is widespread support among the right, and in Yisrael Bednu, for the annexation part of the plan, the rest of the plan is likely to be less popular. Netanyahu believes that if the cabinet approves the plan, Washington will relent and allow at least one stage of the annexation to go through. After the momentum achieved at the presentation of the plan last week, Netanyahu is determined to at least begin the annexation process, although it's highly unlikely that it will be completed before the election. The Yeshua Council on Sunday launched an emergency campaign for imposition of sovereignty on areas of Yehuda and Shomron this week, saying that if it is not accomplished now, it will never happen. Naftali Bennett's Yamina party on Thursday reiterated the need for a quick imposition of Israeli sovereignty on Jewish communities in Yehuda and Shomron, immediately, before the March elections. Missing this opportunity would be a terrible blow to Jewish settlement, to the 500,000 Jews in Yehuda, Shamaran and the Jordan Valley. Sovereignty is at our fingertips, we dare not miss the opportunity, the party said in a statement. Meanwhile, Channel 12 said that the head of the CIA, Gina Haspel, has promised Palestinian Authority Chief Mahmoud Abbas that her organization would work to prevent any annexation before the election. Haspel urged Abbas not to make any hasty decisions regarding the pause security cooperation with Israel and the U.S. At a meeting of the Arab League Saturday, Abbas said that the PA will not accept this framework under any circumstances, and I say directly that if Israel and the U.S. continue to violate the agreements with us, we will break off relations altogether, including security cooperation. Over the past 2 years, the U.S. and the PA have communicated chiefly via the CIA. The PA has refused to meet with American diplomatic staff in the region, as the authority is boycotting the U.S. administration. Hamodia.com. Tel Aviv will be treated like Itamar cheering Trump plan, Netanyahu says he will start annexation process Sunday, briefing reporters after White House released peace proposal. PM hails a revolutionary change from previous peace proposals by Raphael R. in January 28, 2020, 11:48 p.m. 8/2534 shares U.S. President Donald Trump, right, looks over to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, left, during an event in the East Room of the White House in Washington, January 28, 2020. /Susan Walsh, U.S. President Donald Trump, right, looks over to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, left, during an event in the East Room of the White House in Washington, January 28, 2020. /Susan Walsh, Washington, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will bring his plan to annex the Jordan Valley and all settlements in the West Bank to a vote during next week's cabinet meeting, he told reporters Tuesday, as he feted the White House's newly released peace proposal. This plan is a historical breakthrough with many achievements that we never thought possible, including the immediate American recognition of Israeli sovereignty over the Jordan Valley and the northern Dead Sea area, which means that Israel will once and for all establish its eastern border, he claimed. Speaking to Israeli journalists in the Blair House, the White House's official guest residence, Netanyahu said he would start working on pushing annexation at a cabinet meeting Sunday. Get the Times of Israel's daily edition by email and never miss our top stories. Free sign up. But under indictment and running the government in a caretaker capacity, it remained unclear whether he can legally push through as significant a measure as redrawing Israel's borders. His main rival Benny Gantz's Blue and White Party said it would only support implementing the contours of the plan after the March 2 election. Netanyahu said the blueprint provides for the immediate American recognition of Israel's right to sovereignty in the entire Jordan Valley and all settlements. All settlements, it's all-inclusive, he stressed. He said illegal outposts would also be annexed. Tel Aviv will be treated like Itamar, he said, referring to a settlement south of Nablus, deep inside the West Bank. The entrance to the Itamar settlement, outside Nablus, in the northern West Bank on May 19, 2017. Judah Ari Gross, Times of Israel, no one is going to be uprooted from his home, he said. Furthermore, all previous restrictions on settlement expansions will be lifted, Netanyahu said. Until now, we coordinated the building with the U.S. We will no longer have to do that, because all the settlements will be under our sovereignty. Someone joked that now there will be a real building freeze because the area will now be part of the State of Israel, the Prime Minister said, referring to the notorious bureaucracy Israeli homeowners face. He said the U.S. had agreed to Israel's immediate annexation of additional areas of the West Bank that are adjacent to the settlements. However, he said that Israel will apply sovereignty there not immediately, but during a second phase at a yet undetermined time. We need to do some work to define exactly what we will annex, he said. A picture taken on November 19, 2019 shows a new housing construction site in the Israeli settlement of El-Azhar, near the Palestinian city of Bethlehem south of Jerusalem, in the West Bank. Menahem Kahana, AFP. Over the years, the international community said it would apply crippling sanctions on Israel in the UN Security Council if Israel annexed even a tiny part of the territory, the Prime Minister said. The green light he received now from U.S. President Donald Trump provides protection from such sanctions, he added, referring to the fact that the U.S. can veto any resolution at the Security Council. Everyone says they want to annex. You can talk a lot, you can make many declarations, but you can only really do it if you take care of the international arena, he said in an apparent swipe at his political rivals on the far right who have long called for the government to apply sovereignty over the West Bank. The military regime that was in place in the West Bank since Israel captured the area in the 1967 Six-Day War will be annulled, Netanyahu said. While the plan calls for a two-state solution, an Israeli official described the resulting Palestinian state as restricted and limited. Israel will retain security control over the entire West Bank, Netanyahu said. Even in the case that the Palestinians agree to all the terms of the deal and a Palestinian state is established on what amounts to about 70% of the West Bank, plus parts in what is now Israel. Illustrative, Israeli soldiers stand by as masked Israeli settlers throw stones at Palestinian protesters, unseen, during a demonstration against construction on an Israeli outpost near the Palestinian village of Termuzaya and the settlement of Shiloh, north of Ramallah in the West Bank, on October 17, 2019. Jafar Ashtaya, AFP. Though the plan calls for cutting off some parts of East Jerusalem beyond the security barrier and making them the Palestinian capital, Netanyahu celebrated the fact that the Trump plan buries the idea of dividing Jerusalem, he said. Vision for Peace conceptual map published by the Trump administration on January 28, 2020. The Trump plan buries the notion of a return to the 1967 lines. It buries the idea of a Palestinian right of return. Not even one refugee will enter Israel, he stressed. Netanyahu said that under Trump's plan the Palestinians will have to disarm Hamas, demilitarize Gaza, recognize Israel as the Jewish state and accept Israeli sovereignty over Jerusalem and 30% of the West Bank before they are granted statehood. They also have to stop paying salaries to terrorists and their families, cease incitement against Israel, withdraw all complaints against Israel at the International Criminal Court and must not join any international organizations without Israel's agreement, Netanyahu said. This is a revolutionary change from previous peace proposals, he said. Instead of pressuring Israel into making concessions, the U.S. is now making demands of the Palestinians.
The Times of Israel.com article, and I also saw peacenow.org.il. Data on Netanyahu's Jordan Valley annexation map, but this is of 2019. I can put the link in the description. My father is coming up with dinner, so I'm not going to make this broadcast very long. Just wanted to read the article. Abbas said that the PA, is it Palestinian Authority, will not accept this framework under any circumstances. Abbas, the president of Palestine. Also known as Kunya Abu Mazen, the President of the State of Palestine and Palestinian National Authority. That's according to Wiki, I guess. The CIA Vatican edited encyclopedia. There's no such thing as a free lunch, they say. Cleaning up my desk. So let me know what you all think about this. "190 protesters killed in Gaza," that's what it makes me think of. And I've covered the Trump peace plan, world war plan of the Vatican in my previous broadcast. So the idea is divide and conquer, splitting them up in two groups, each with their own allies. I've shown the article that lists the ally countries of Palestine. Biggest ally The biggest ally of Palestine is, of course, Iran, with its ally Russia, etc. And the ally of Israel is the US, with other ally countries. So if they go for the two-state solution, splitting it up, giving the Palestinians self-rule, self-determination, two-state solution, world war can erupt. And that may be their exact plan, to reduce the global population to 500 million and rule the world from Jerusalem, is the stated goal of many people. And I've covered the book quotes, and the $1 million Georgia Guidestones are still standing after these nuclear torpedoes and other weapons of self-destruction have annihilated 7 billion of us. So they will profit from this financially, and it will also accumulate power. It's to accumulate wealth and power. So that's the reason they make these wars. So how to end them and create universal peace instead, that's what I usually ponder upon. And I hope you all do the same. Check my previous broadcast for that, and spread this broadcast on your timeline. Please hit the like button and subscribe, and see you all next time on Perfect Society. Peace.